and welcome to today's presentation. Today's speaker is Allison Coleman. Allison is our CEO at Capital Link, and with that said, I'll get it over to Allison to get started.
Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today. I'm going to be talking about two financing resources, HRSA's Loan Guarantee Program and New Markets Tax Credits. But first, just a word about Capital Link in case you don't know who we are. We are a nonprofit organization. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. We are HRSA National Cooperative Agreement Partner. HRSA provides funding to Capital Link to provide training and technical assistance to health centers related to capital project planning and financing. And this webinar is one of the activities that HRSA supports through our National Cooperative Agreement. We have offices in 6 states, as you see on the slide here. And over our history, we've helped health centers obtain more than $1.2 billion in financing for more than 234 capital projects. That's about 10% of current health center facility space in operation today. Though our main focus is helping health centers plan for growth and access capital, lots of health centers use the tools and resources that we've developed to help them plan in general for their sustainability and growth, regardless of whether they have a capital project included as part of their plan. We also have a large database of health center financials and UDS data, and we use that to help health centers understand their financial and operating trends and use that to help improve their financial management. And we also work with health centers on helping them articulate their value. Many health centers use our value and impact analyses as part of their package of information that they put together to request funding from a wide variety of sources. Today, I'm going to highlight two of what I think of as the most important capital financing resources available to health centers today. If you have an upcoming capital project, I really think it should be part of any health center's due diligence process to at least consider whether one or both of these financing resources could be beneficial for your health center. And I know all of you on the call today are essentially doing that, so glad to have you. I'll be reviewing the details of both of these programs, and then I will highlight technical assistance resources available through Capital Link that can help you prepare for either type of financing. And I will also leave some time for questions at the end. I'm sure, as many of you know, there are several steps to a successful health center capital project, which I will not be going into in depth today, but I don't want to gloss over the fact that really any successful project begins with strategic planning, a basic level of financial capacity, and operational and clinical excellence. That's really the foundation on which you want to build. Specifically for a capital project, you will also want a very clear idea of the market opportunities in front of your health centers for expansion or adding new services. And you will certainly need a business plan outlining your project and its merits to entice investors, whether these investors are grant funders or lenders, to entice them to support your project. All projects also need leadership, both from within the organization and project planning expertise that's often hired from outside the organization, such as architects and engineers and others that help you manage and build your project. But certainly in the midst of a planning process for a capital project, you also need to think about how you will pay for that project. Some health centers, but frankly increasingly few, pay for their capital projects entirely with grant funds. Most projects these days, we can tell from looking at data from your audited financial statements, most projects actually do include at least some component of debt financing. And that's what we're really going to discuss over the next 45 minutes or so. The HRSA Loan Guarantee Program is technically a credit enhancement program that works with a loan that you obtain from either a bank or a CDFI. That's a community development finance institution that is basically a nonprofit lender that focuses on providing capital to organizations like health centers. The Loan Guarantee Program is actually not a new program. It was originally authorized by Congress in the late 1990s, but it really has, I would say, a new aspect of the program. Congress appropriated new funding for the program in 2018 in the same funding bill that fixed the health center federal funding cliff, and it now allows HRSA to update and modernize the program to provide loan guarantees on $900 million in new loans to health centers. This is really, right now, the largest and only capital resource that HRSA has available for health centers. The guarantee covers up to 80% of the principal amount of loans made by what are known as non-federal lenders to health centers. That would include, as I mentioned before, banks and CDFIs. Now, I want to emphasize that this is a guarantee. It is not a direct loan. So I want to just clarify what a guarantee is. Basically, a guarantee is HRSA saying to your lender that the federal government will cover 80% of the health center's debt obligation to the lender in the event that the health center defaults on its repayment obligation. So it's, in essence, like an insurance policy for the lender. And what that does is it reduces the risk that the lender is taking in making a loan to the borrower, and that by reducing that risk, HRSA is basically allowing the lender to either make a loan that it otherwise would not be able to make at all, or to improve the terms and conditions it can offer to you beyond what it could offer without the guarantee. I want to talk quickly about eligibility for the program. You must be a Section 330 funded health center to access the program. Unfortunately, lookalikes are not eligible. But virtually any type of capital project that Section 330 Health Center might take on could be eligible for a guarantee. Technically, the legislation discusses that guarantees are available for medical facilities, but HRSA has interpreted that quite broadly to mean any facility that is consistent with the health center's scope of project. So it certainly could include medical facilities, but also for the entire range of your services: dental, behavioral health, substance use disorder, vision, enabling. Could be a call center, administrative offices, wellness services or wellness center if that's sponsored by your health center, potentially a PACE center. Anything that's within your scope would be eligible. In addition, most capital costs are eligible, including purchase of land or buildings, renovations, new construction costs, equipment costs that are associated with the capital project, fit-out costs of leased space. You can include a limited amount of refinancing of existing debt. HRSA is still working on its specific guidance on the level of refinancing that they will allow as part of the guarantee. But I think it's safe to say they do not want to use the guarantee for 100% refinancing. But if you've got new money associated with your project with some refinancing, that could certainly be eligible. You can also capitalize some pre-development costs. So for example, if you have paid your architect up front to develop architectural plans, those costs could be rolled into a financing that use the loan guarantee. There may be other financing or consultant fees that you have to pay that could also be included in the loan that has the guarantee. Most of the time, if you are obtaining financing for a construction loan, you may also want to capitalize the interest that's payable during the construction period. and that's eligible as well. You may also want to include some limited working capital to help you extend your cash resources while you are starting up, say, a new facility or a new service. I mentioned that land and equipment is eligible, but HRSA does not want to use the guarantee for projects that are just land or equipment, but if they are part of a larger construction or renovation project, they are eligible. Another important note here that there is no maximum or minimum size of project that you can, for a loan that you could apply for a guarantee amount. It's really quite flexible in being sized according to your needs. A couple of other notable program features. The guarantee program cannot be used with tax-exempt bonds, but it can be used with the New Markets Tax Credit Program, which I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes. In fact, many of the health centers that used kind of the old loan guarantee program did so in connection with New Markets Tax Credits. And actually, HRSA is taking a look at the structures they will allow the guarantee, or how the guarantee can be used in New Markets Tax Credits. And we are hopeful that some of the structures that they're considering are actually an improvement over prior structures, and that will be more streamlined and provide more benefit to health center deals. So quickly, here are some ways that the loan guarantee program might benefit your health center. First of all, it's important to note that the particular benefit that any individual health center will experience will be based on your health center's credit profile. But in some cases, the guarantee may allow you to get a thumbs up from a lender versus a thumbs down. In other cases, the guarantee might actually lower your interest rate. That obviously is beneficial to you because the less cash you are paying to the lender, the more cash you're retaining for the health center to be reinvested in your program and services. Other benefits might include a longer fixed rate term that is particularly important in terms of just providing certainty to the health center that you're not suddenly going to be in a rising interest rate environment with the interest rate going up and affecting your cash flow. You might also be able to negotiate a higher loan-to-value ratio. This is really a big challenge for many health centers that take on capital projects because virtually all lenders will require you to obtain an appraisal on an as-built appraisal on whatever it is your project is building. And most lenders, if they're regulated, can offer you a loan based on, say, 80% loan to appraised value. So very often the cost to build a health center project is greater than the appraised value because these are pretty specialized facilities. They have, sinks in lots of the rooms and are not easily converted to other uses, and so they usually appraise out at less than the cost to build. So the guarantee provides some additional collateral support and allows the lender to potentially offer you a higher loan to value. So rather than say maybe an 80% loan to value, you might get a 90 or even a 95% loan to value with the loan guarantee. And that another benefit might be that it lowers your collateral requirements, so that a lender might not require you to pledge, for example, all your assets to them if you have the guarantee, and that leaves you collateral available for potentially other loans, or to just not have all your collateral tied up with a specific loan to one lender. It might help you negotiate better covenants that will help you ongoingly in terms of staying in compliance with the loan covenants. And a big benefit of the guarantee is that there's no fee for the guarantee. I am not aware of any other federal guarantee or federal or non-federal guarantee that is free to borrowers. So it's basically a free insurance policy, and that's pretty unique. Process for applying to the loan guarantee program, it's a 4-step process, as you can see here, and I'm going to walk you quickly through each step. The pre-application consultation is not required, but it is highly recommended. It gives both you and HRSA the opportunity to exchange information about the project you have planned, to make sure that there are no issues, that it is fully eligible for the guarantee. It will also give you a heads up on whether there will be any environmental or historic or, requirements related to the project you're proposing. And it gives HRSA a heads up to just know that you intend to apply, and helps them be prepared when in fact you do apply. The process, if you want to have this pre-application consultation, is you send an email to lgprogram@hrsa.gov and you provide them with the information outlined below. Now you'll note that this information, some of it is somewhat specific in terms of you really need to know, what's the scope of your project, at least a reasonable estimate of your overall project costs, the amount of the financing that you're seeking, and if you've started talking with lenders, any information that you have on that. So you will need to be partway through your planning process, just so that when you're talking with HRSA, you're really talking about something specific. But this, could happen fairly early in your process, so you can get a pretty good handle on kind of what HRSA thinks of the project, and to sort of raise any red flags that might slow the project down going forward. So the next stage is the application development and submission. So in order to submit a complete application, you have to have a loan commitment from a lender. So this application preparation phase really is the bulk of the time that the loan guarantee application takes, and frankly it's filled with activities that you will need to undertake regardless of whether you're seeking a loan guarantee. So the steps that you might need to follow for just planning your project would include a market assessment, so you know who you are trying to reach, and make sure that your services are in alignment with the market needs. You will need to select a site. You'll need to develop a project team, including both folks within the health center who are helping to manage the project, and certainly external parties such as architects and folks like that. You will need to be working with your staff to really understand the program that you want to offer in the new space, and that leads to a space plan that then helps direct your architect to what it is you actually want them to design. Then you have the actual design and development work. From there, that really allows you to have a clear understanding of what the project will actually cost, and allow you to develop a detailed budget. And all of these pieces of information get basically put together in a business plan, which also includes the plan of finance, how you plan to pay for the project, and financial projections that show that the project is feasible and supportable going forward. Usually you will have to submit all of that information to a lender and then negotiate with that lender for the best terms and conditions that you can get. Now, a key piece of the value of the guarantee to a health center is it basically allows you to go to a lender and ask them what terms and conditions they can provide to you in a loan if you have a guarantee, or if you don't have a guarantee. It allows you to see very specifically what's the benefit of the guarantee to you. Is it that it allows you to have a lower interest rate, or just get a loan commitment at all? It will really kind of outline the specific benefit to the health center in that process of negotiation. The actual submission of the application, the expectation is that the health center will initiate the application, probably through EHB, though HRSA is working on a mechanism for allowing that. But there will be certain pieces of the application that will also need to be submitted by the lender directly to HRSA. It's very likely that the pieces that the health center will submit is the request for HRSA's consideration of a guarantee, along with a signed commitment letter from the lender that outlines the terms and conditions of the guarantee. And certainly that commitment letter can be contingent upon the guarantee being approved. The lender will then also need to submit information, including a credit memorandum, together with the health center's business plan and financial projections, and a statement outlining from the lender's perspective the better terms and conditions they're able to offer you because of the guarantee. And then once HRSA deems it a complete application, they will review it. They will be relying heavily on the lender's due diligence, and that's one of the main ways that that HRSA intends to streamline the program. They will not be doing a double underwriting of the program. Of your loan, which should speed things up. Essentially, HRSA and its lender coordinator will act more like a senior credit officer, reviewing the due diligence that the lender has done and just making sure that they're comfortable with that. They expect their HRSA's process to take 60 to 90 days to basically give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the loan guarantee, and that is assuming a receipt of a complete application. Once the guarantee is approved, then the loan will be ready for closing. And another way that the program is being streamlined is that the lender will manage the loan closing using its own documents. And the actual documents from HRSA will be quite limited in number, be standardized so that there's not a lot of negotiation or back and forth between attorneys needed in order to just finalize the guarantee. And then once the loan is closed, the lender will then manage the loan as it would any other loan. There probably will be reporting requirements that the lender will make periodically to HRSA. It's very likely that you as the health center will really primarily just interface with the lender and not directly with HRSA in terms of having to provide separate reporting to HRSA. I want to quickly tell you about some of the technical assistance resources. I'm running a little late on time here, so I'm going to go through this quickly. So timing and preparation. The good news, the HRSA Loan Guarantee Program does not have a specific application deadline. You can basically apply to that program when your project is ready. HRSA is taking applications now, but I want to caution you that the revised guarantee documents are not final yet. HRSA is expecting that they will be final by the end of September. But you can still do all of your project planning and start your process with HRSA, but know that these guarantee documents around September or so will be ready to be deployed for new deals. New Markets Tax Credits, the next New Markets Tax Credit application cycle is likely to be announced during the summer for a fall application due to the CDFI fund. So what that really means is that if you have a project that you would like to have New Markets Tax Credits for in the next, say, 2 years, you should really be making your project known to CDEs this summer. And I encourage and invite you to contact Capital Link if you want our help in getting your project known. Because it's a really important step and the time is now, basically. We think that awards are likely to be made around this time, maybe May 2020, May, June 2020. So that's really the timeline that you want to be shovel ready by then. In terms of available technical assistance for the Loan Guarantee Program, as I mentioned, we have a national cooperative agreement with HRSA. HRSA has specifically asked us to provide a range of training and technical assistance to health centers that are applying to the Loan Guarantee Program. So we have 2 buckets, if you will, of this assistance in addition to these types of webinar trainings. You can get individualized assistance, up to 4 hours of individualized assistance entirely free to you. by contacting me or Jonathan Chapman after this call. We'll be happy to talk with you about your initial eligibility, help point you in the right direction, help you think through whether the loan guarantee program is really a good resource for you. If you need more assistance than the 4 hours, we are able to provide more in-depth assistance depending on what your needs are. However, we have a limited pool of funds for the basically the subsidizing this more in-depth assistance. We do expect that in early July we will be putting out a request for assistance application that we would like to get applications from health centers if you're interested in getting a piece of this sort of TA dollar bucket, if you will, to help you put together different pieces of your application for a loan guarantee. We have limited funds, so it may be that you need more assistance than what we can entirely subsidize by HRSA, but that will be an individual discussion with you as we understand more about what your project needs are. For New Markets tax credits, we've worked with, we've completed financing for 55 health centers totaling more than $700 million in New Markets tax credits. In those transactions, we basically act as the health center's financial advisor, and we basically work with you all the way through from the beginning of your project planning to the closing of your financing, and we work with you to get the tax credits and to structure the deal so that it's advantageous to you. This is a fee-based product, although if for some of you who may be applying to both the loan guarantee program, there may be a piece of this HRSA support that we can use to subsidize a New Markets engagement agreement if you're applying to both the loan guarantee program and for New Markets. But again, this is an individual conversation. I will say that most CDEs will not even work with a borrower who does not have a financial advisor working with them on a New Markets tax credit deal. You can try to do it on your own, but most CDEs, they know how hard it is to put together a New Markets deal, and their goal is to get the money out there, and they frankly will not prioritize projects that don't come to the table with a team experienced in New Markets tax credit deals. So we can help you and play that role if you're interested. There are a range of free Capital Link resources on our website. You can download them. Particularly note that there are a number of spotlight on capital resources on the New Markets tax credit program specifically. There's also a HRSA loan guarantee program overview that's available on our website as well. There are business plan manuals of how to put together your business plan, your financial projections. There are all kinds of resources on assembling project teams. So you're welcome to download any of those resources.
Okay, thanks, Allison. And I'd like to thank you all again for joining us, and we look forward to joining you, having you join us for future presentations.
Thanks, everybody.